Hello, welcome to A&I Floor Coverings training for carbon monoxide. Today, we are going over the A&I policy that relates to carbon monoxide safety. We will identify sources of CO and inhalation hazards as it relates to our flooring process. Discuss what carbon monoxide CO is. Discuss the meaning of TWA, its role in our action plan, and we will identify different parts per million levels related to our CO response plan. Additionally, we are also going to discuss the importance of monitoring for CO levels. Discuss available methods for monitoring CO levels. List the signs and symptoms of carbon monoxide poisoning, and finally, we will state the effects of long-term and short-term carbon monoxide poisoning. Let's get started. Carbon monoxide, the silent killer, is a byproduct that is produced when we use any type of propane-powered machine. It is a chemical compound that is composed of one carbon molecule and one oxygen molecule. Carbon monoxide is known as the silent killer because it is invisible, colorless, odorless, and tasteless. Because it has no warning properties, it appears non-existent. Without proper monitoring equipment, it is undetectable and impossible for human senses to be aware of its presence. Where does carbon monoxide come from? Great question. Carbon monoxide is a common industrial hazard resulting from combustion within our propane-powered machines. Any tool or machine used on an A&I job site that runs on propane may produce potentially fatal levels of carbon monoxide under the correct circumstances. You may be asking yourself, what are the most common sources of carbon monoxide in our workplace? The list is as follows, but not limited to: concrete or joint saws, burnishers, your HEPA vacuum, floor grinders and polishers, machine exhausts, and anywhere propane combustion takes place. We must take high precautions when using any propane-powered machine. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, more than 400 workers every year die from unintentional carbon monoxide poisoning. More than 20,000 workers visit the emergency room. More than 4,000 others are hospitalized. In fact, during 1999 to 2004, CO poisoning was listed as a contributing cause of death on 16,447 death certificates in the United States. Let's go over how carbon monoxide affects your organs after being exposed to high levels. Carbon monoxide alters your blood's ability to carry oxygen to the body's tissues and vital organs. This in turn causes lack of oxygen in your organs and dramatically affects your nervous system, brain, heart, and lungs. So, what controls do we have in place to make sure our crew members are safe when working around such a dangerous element? To start, we have something called a permissible exposure limit. This means that we measure the carbon monoxide in the air and prohibit any work when a level of 13 parts per million or ppm is shown on your carbon monoxide monitor's time-weighted average reading. Time-weighted average, or TWA, is the concentration of carbon monoxide in the air measured over an 8-hour period. What should you do if any of your carbon monoxide monitors reach the 13 parts per million TWA limit? We must immediately shut off any propane-powered machines. Clear the affected area. Then, once it is safe to do so, perform equipment checks to find the machine that is causing high CO numbers. We will continue monitoring TWA levels. Once the machine causing high readings has been removed from area or serviced, and TWA levels fall under the 13 parts per million threshold, then work may resume. Since carbon monoxide cannot be seen and has no odor, how do we monitor the levels in the air? That's right, we use carbon monoxide detectors like the ones pictured below. Carbon monoxide detectors are designed to measure carbon monoxide levels and sound an alarm before dangerous levels of CO accumulate, giving people adequate warning to safely ventilate or evacuate the area. The number of monitors we need will vary at each store. As an A&I standard, we need 4 monitors set up around the perimeter of the sales floor, 2 monitors inside of our work area at all times. The 2 monitors inside the work area must include 1 blackline monitor at all times while propane machines are actively being used. In addition to these 6 monitors, we will need each propane-powered machine operator to wear an additional carbon monoxide monitor to further ensure worker safety. Now, let's talk about some of the symptoms that come with carbon monoxide poisoning. The most common symptoms of CO poisoning are headache, confusion, dizziness, weakness, nausea, vomiting, chest pain, cardiac dysrhythmias, hypotension, and cardiac arrest. Remember, it's often hard to tell if someone has CO poisoning because the symptoms may be like those of other illnesses. What should you do in the event of carbon monoxide poisoning? Guidelines say you should move yourself or the victim immediately to fresh air in an open area. Then, we must call 911 or another local emergency number for medical attention or assistance. Now let's talk about some of the long-term effects of carbon monoxide poisoning. The long-term neurological effects of breathing in carbon monoxide can affect brain function, memory loss, moods, behavior, cognition, and thoughts. It is thought that the section of the brain that deals with new memories can be particularly susceptible to long-term damage from CO poisoning. Aside from neurological effects, there is also various long-term cardiovascular effects. These effects include heart muscle damage from lack of oxygen to the cardiac pump, complications such as hypertension, pump failure, later development of cardiac complications, similar to an engine and its components. The heart and brain continuously talk to each other, influencing the other's functioning. Neurocardiology suggests the signals that the heart sends to the brain can influence perception, emotional processing, and cognition. Carbon monoxide can be fatal. Please treat it as such. Thank you for viewing our carbon monoxide safety training. We will now move on to the exam portion of our training.